Lungs strike out as a very special organ because here we bring about the interaction between air on one hand and the blood on the other, okay? And interface is at the alveoli where the two things are going to interact, air and blood. Okay. You can ask a question, how much of air and how much of blood? Okay. When I talk of air, I talk of ventilation. This is a process of ventilation. We take in air. So, what you are really doing when you are breathing, what you are really doing is ventilating your lungs. And when you are ventilating, certain amount of blood is flowing through the lungs. Is there a correlation between the two? And what is the healthy correlation? Is a question that we are asking. Are you with me? How much of blood versus how much of air per unit time, 1 minute. 1 minute, okay. And it has been found that over a period of 1 minute in a healthy person, okay, about how much of air that you are taking in and giving out, 4.2 liters a minute, okay. Given the fact that you are respiring, you are 70 kg or you are in rest and you are breathing normally, and in that period the number of you may be 8 or 10 or 12, but we are roughly an average would be how much of air is there that is going in and out. How much air have you taken? 4.2 liters. Okay. During that period, how much of blood has drained through the lungs? And that comes to about 5.5 liters. Means what? The blood that is coming from the heart and going back to the heart over a period of 1 minute. How much it is? 5.5 liters. Okay. And so, I am just going to divide one by the other, and I get a ratio about 0.8. Okay. Why is the ratio important? The ratio is important because depending on the physiological condition, the ratio can change. About that I do not really care much, but what I really care about is it can really vary during disease conditions, okay, and then it can give me a good parameter about the functioning of the lungs, okay, if the ratio is changing and in what direction it is changing. Okay. So, what are we going to do now? Well, let us take some examples and to find out as to okay. Now, as long as you are sleeping down, okay, let us presume that the effect of gravity is there, but let us presume that it is not there. Its in reality is there, but it is not there. But it is certainly glaring when you are standing, the effect of gravity is there. Okay. So, whether you like it or not, the gravity is pulling your blood down. So, I will ask a very simple question, is the amount of flow of blood, okay, if I divide the lungs into 3 parts, actually it is continuous 1, but I will still divide into 3 parts for the sake of argument, and the argument is so what am I doing here? I am dividing the heart into at 3 levels. Are you with me? Top level, middle level and the lower level. Is the blood flow same through at all the levels? No, it is not same. It is not same. Okay. Why? Because when you are standing, the blood would like to, if given a choice, it would like to go along the gravity, which means it will flow through the lower part, okay, and it will be minimum through the higher part. So, is the ventilation perfusion ratio uniform in the lungs? It is not going to be uniform. It is going to be different when you are standing, it is going to be different when you are sleeping. That point number 1. Secondly, then there are a range of conditions which will also influence the ventilation perfusion ratio. In this diagram, well, we have millions of alveoli, but the author has focused on 4 alveoli, just example, 4 alveoli, okay. And you can see there 1, 2, 3, 4, can you see the alveoli there? And in the alveoli, can you see there are the bronchi, okay, and the bronchi are branching, and then all the 4 of them are being ventilated by a single bronchus each. Now, the first one, this one at the top here is very normal. What is there? What do you mean? Can you see from there the deoxygenated blood is coming? Hello? Deoxygenated blood is coming and then it gets oxygenated and goes all the way. So, deoxygenated gets oxygenated, goes here, and air also comes in and goes out, and the blood has an opportunity to collect whatever oxygen it can. Good. But what is the difference in this? Is this alveolus also getting equal amount of oxygen? Yes or no? Air or what does it look like when you look at the image? The second one. In the second one, no, there is a problem. Maybe there is some fluid accumulation, blood accumulation, I do not know what, but as a result of that, the air cannot really enter into the alveolus. Okay, not that all the 300 million alveolar, no, the things keep on aging, then the things keep on changing. So, this alveolus, is it really functional? It is not. Okay. So, what is it doing? It is impacting the ventilation perfusion ratio, okay, adversely. Okay. The blood is flowing, but it is not getting oxygen. The second factor can be here, for example, now let us compare this with this. What is the difference between these two alveoli? You will find that the capillary that goes here, whereas this is a healthy capillary, it flows the blood, whereas this capillary is almost shrunken, it is not taking the blood, something wrong in the capillary. But then is that alveolus getting air? Yeah, it does. Does it get blood? No, no. As a result, is oxygenation happening? No. Again, adversely influencing the ventilation perfusion ratio. Let us take a third example, wherein the air comes and goes, no problem, where the blood flows, no problem, but is the blood getting oxygenated? No, no. Why? Perhaps because for some reason, maybe the blood pressure somewhere there has increased, as a result of there is accumulation of fluid, as a result of that fluid which is lining the alveolus is serving as a barrier, and when it is a barrier, it obstructs the passage of two-way passage of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and as a result of that the transfer of oxygen into the blood is not happening. Okay. So, these are the different scenarios in which the ventilation perfusion ratio can be adversely influenced. So, look, yes, please.
The ventilation rate independent of the level of the lung at which we are looking at?
The ventilation rate depends on the everything put together, because we have sensors for oxygen, and those sensors for oxygen are somewhere in the carotid. I will talk about it, and it will take the blood as a whole. It cannot take the blood and this part or that part, although oxygen sensors are there in different part of the lungs. Yeah, but we do not know, we are not, as of today we have not been able to discern their functions. So, your argument could be partly right, I am not very sure.
So,
yeah.
the final 0.8 number,
yes,
is the average of the 3 sections you are talking about?
Which one? Okay. Oh, yeah. It is average of everything. Average of sleeping, standing. It is a very broad number. But it could. I mean, if you take the ventilation, it is of course different in different reasons. But we are taking everything. Okay. Now we will take a. So here you can. This is a very nice diagram. You have the alveoli, and then you have the capillaries, and you can see the blue ones which are oxygen. They are getting oxygenated, and the blood is going out. I will ask you a very simple question. You see, we have balloons. On birthday, etc. We blow into the balloons. Okay, and we believe that it is an exercise for the lungs, whatever. Something, when you actually put a balloon to your mouth and try to blow into it, okay, there is so much pressure being applied onto the balloon that the pressure is coming from your lungs. The pressure also goes to the alveoli, and the pressure on the alveolar capillary becomes so much that actually the blood flow in the capillaries stops. Hello, are you with me? As long as you are blowing into a balloon, okay. So means what? Each balloon is now stretched. Okay, you are generating pressure, okay, it's stretched, and the alveolar pressure is so much that it presses on the capillaries, and as a result of that the blood flow in the capillaries is almost stopped, as long as you are blowing with a high degree of pressure. Okay, therefore you have to take a break, and then as soon as you take a break, the blood flow in the alveoli, in the capillaries of the alveoli will restart. What am I doing? What am I doing right now? I am trying to impress on you the importance of the alveolar pressure on the flow of blood. Okay. Now, see, I say it is such a delicate balance, extremely delicate balance, because if you want to say that no, I want to make sure that the blood flows, any case, then I am going to increase the pressure. If I increase the pressure, then there will be more leakage of the fluid and accumulation of the fluid in the alveoli, which I do not want, that may serve as a barrier. Okay. If I want to reduce, okay, I know that in the capillaries, in those capillaries there the pressure is about 7-8 mmHg. Okay. I do not want the blood to leak out of the capillaries. So what I am going to do is I am going to reduce the pressure. If I reduce the pressure, the problem is the alveolar pressure, okay, will kill me, and no blood will flow through the capillaries. Are you getting my language? What am I talking about? I am talking about you have to make sure that the blood keeps on flowing through the capillaries of the lungs. There is a very delicate exercise. I cannot increase the flow of the pressure under which the blood is flowing through the capillaries, because there is another problem. I can't reduce it, okay, because if I reduce it, then the alveolar pressure will dominate and the flow will stop altogether, something as happens when I blow into the balloon. Are we done? Okay, good. So let us talk about. Here we talk about the 3 pressure. Okay, let us see. blood flow. What? Through the lungs. Okay. What am I doing? I am going to divide the lung into 3 parts. What part is this? And what part is this? And what part is this? And then under the standing, just standing at rest, the red. How much at the top? How much is the blood supply? Whatever. How much is the blood supply with reference to this? In this lower. So in the lowermost, the blood supply. We are graphic. And even whereas this is the scenario during what condition? At rest. Now you are doing exercise. You see, when you are doing exercise, lots of things happen. Number one, the heart rate will go up. The force with which heart is contracting, the cardiac output will go up 4, 5, 6, 7 folds, huge amount of. Okay. Now means that blood is also going from the heart into the lungs. So all that amount of blood, that increased output which is coming from the heart as a result of you doing exercise, all that is flowing through the lungs. Okay. How does suddenly the lungs manage with the huge amount of blood? Huge amount, 4 or 5 times is huge. Okay. Means under normal conditions, if the what was the cardiac output? Does anybody remember? About 5. Very good. How about 5 liters? Okay. Under moderate to heavy exercise, it may go to 18 to 20 liters. Huge. Okay. If you are, how does the lung cope up with suddenly that much increase in the volume of the blood that is being processed through its blood system? The number one is under resting conditions, a large number of capillaries may be inactive. Hello, you get the point? Inactive capillaries. Okay. As you start doing exercise, several capillaries get activated. Means what? Now they are ready for perfusion and the blood will flow through them. At this moment, I can ask you to reflect back, and I will ask you a simple question. Can somebody tell me why is it a good idea to do exercise?
To regularly activate inactivated capillaries.
Got the answer? It is in your interest to make sure that all the capillaries, at least for 5 minutes of a day, okay, become activated, get activated, and blood flows through them. You have to just make them functional. Okay. And to make all of them functional, okay, it is necessary to do what? It's necessary to do. I am not talking of other things, but just looking at the health of your lungs, okay, it certainly makes sense, okay, to do exercise so that just make sure that all the capillaries are active and they are allowing the blood to flow through. Yes, please.
In the previous why is there a decrease at the bottom?
Which one?
So the blood flow increases and then decreases.
Here at the bottom. Okay. You mean this? There is a. You see, okay. Let's see. It's anatomical. You see, if you see the lungs, they taper there. You get my point? It's like this. It's not a round at the bottom. It tapers. Okay. So in the tapering part, since the number of blood vessels are less, okay. Therefore, when you go further down, did you get the answer? The answer to that? Okay. We are. If you go in this part, okay, the blood flow is obviously less. So that talks about so top, middle, and bottom. When we say bottom, we are here. If you go further down, okay, since the lung tissue itself is not there. Okay.
But isn't it blood flow per unit of?
Which one? Okay, this one. This one you mean?
It's blood flow per unit of tissue.
Yes. There is one more factor. I don't remember now. I understand your point. We are talking of, say, per gram of lung tissue, okay, and your argument is that since it does not really matter whether it is where it is, why should it be? I am forgetting. I have dealt with this problem. I will tell you. Come on. It's a. I will come to that. Yeah.
Could you repeat how exactly alveolar pressure affects capillary blood flow?
Oh, it simply presses. It simply presses. That's all. Okay, that's all. It presses. And for that, we have this diagram.
So they are that close that.
Very close, very close. I mean that's the whole purpose. Okay, I mean okay. I'll ask you from the plasma, how far is the air in the alveolus? How many microns? Maybe less than a micron. Okay, 1.5 microns. I mean there are only two flat cells, two extremely flat cells. One is endothelial cell, okay, whose thickness may be less than 1 micron, half a micron, and then there is extremely thin basement membrane, and on the other side there is alveolar cell, which is again flat. Okay, and all the whole anatomy is to make sure that there is, so in any increase in the pressure of the alveoli, it is going to press on the capillary. Okay, and when you don't blow every day, but when you blow, it's an extreme example I am taking to make a point. Okay, and when you blow, there is so much pressure that or when you play a trumpet, okay, and musical instrument, you blow with so much air, so the pressure is coming from the pressure also goes on the alveoli. And okay, so let's see here. We are looking at the three alveoli at the top and the middle and at the bottom. Okay, all right. So what do we have here? In the top, the blood flow is less. Okay, so the alveoli are large. So what pressure is more? Alveolar pressure is more. Okay, and then there is arterial. So actually, what author is doing is there are three codes which author is using. P capital A is alveolar pressure. Are you with me? P small a is arterial pressure, which is blood on this side, on this side, and PV is ventricle. I am sorry, not ventricle, it is the venous pressure. So this is the venous pressure. Author is comparing the three. Okay, and what is the answer there? This the alveolar pressure is more than the arterial pressure is more than the venous pressure. If you go to the bottom, the blood is flowing very readily. The blood supply is very good here in the lower part. Okay. As a result of that, that's the point. As a result of that, what is look at the size of the alveolus. Why is the size of the alveolus less? Because the capillaries are now swollen. Okay. And as a result of that, you have the arterial pressure is high, then the venous pressure, and the alveolar pressure is minimum. What are we doing? We are just comparing the three operators which are operating and which will determine what the flow at which the blood is going through the capillaries and the rate at which the alveoli are getting ventilated. Okay. Now, we will move on to another very interesting topic in the respiration. So, where are we? We are in the lungs. In the lungs, we are in the blood, and now we are ready to understand how the transport of oxygen is coming from the alveoli into the hemoglobin. So, let us spend some time on this amazing molecule, hemoglobin. Now, please remember, this is a very old molecule. What do I mean by old molecule? It has been there forever. Okay. Have you heard of leguminous plants? Okay. They can fix nitrogen, etc. In their nodules, which I am talking of those plants. Okay, they have molecule, leguminous plants. They have molecule which we call as leg hemoglobin. I am sure you have heard of it. Okay. Why do you call them as leg hemoglobin? Because they are leguminous plant, and those molecules is hemoglobin, very similar. Okay. Protein structure may be here and there different, but it is a hemoglobin molecule. It is a very old molecule. Where do you get the hemoglobin molecule in the animal world? Of course, you get it in vertebrates everywhere, no doubt about it. But do you find them in invertebrates? The answer to that question is yes. Do you get hemoglobin in insects? Yes. Do you get hemoglobin gene in amoeba? Yes. Okay. So it's a very old gene. It may be expressed, may not be expressed. Okay. But it's a very old molecule. What am I talking about? Hemoglobin is just to. Secondly, there's no other word for it. It's just a wonderful molecule. And what we are going to do in another half an hour is just to understand the secrets as to why. One of the great, absolutely stunningly great faculties of this molecule is if the partial pressure of around the molecule, where is the molecule? It is in the RBC. Where is RBC? In the plasma. If the partial pressure of oxygen is more, it will take. If it is less, it will give. It does not need to be signaled or told by anybody. No, it is just the structure of the molecule. Okay, so depending on if it is there, it will take. If it is so, whenever it just RBC happens to pass through the lungs, okay, there is more partial pressure of oxygen it will take, and from the lungs it will go to different organs, and where there is less oxygen, it will just give. That's it. Just what determines whether it is oxygenated or deoxygenated, just the partial pressure around. Okay, and it takes as the RBC flows through the capillary in the lungs, say, it can pick up all the, well, there are millions of molecules of hemoglobin in a single RBC. Are you okay? I am looking at single RBC. How many? I will tell you, I have a slide there. There are millions of molecules of hemoglobin. As they pass through the lungs, they all can be saturated, okay, with oxygen within a period of 0.01 second. Hello? Did you get the impact? How much time does it take for an RBC if you give sufficient oxygen to get saturated with oxygen? How much time? 0.01 second. How quickly? Because after all, the RBC is going to take less than a second to zip through the capillary in the around the alveolus. Okay, it's a very short time. Even less than, it takes even less than that to get fully saturated. What am I talking about? Just try to appreciate the beauty of the molecule with the rapidity which it can get oxygen. So, okay, so here we have the lungs and here is the capillary. In the capillary we take an RBC. From the RBC we go inside and we look at the molecule, and we find that the molecule is made up of 4 units. We call them as 2 alpha units and 2 beta units. What do you call them as? 2 alpha units and 2 beta units. Okay. So, let us talk something about, and each is a huge protein. It's a globin molecule, 4 of them, and the alpha unit generally has, I think, about 141 amino acids, and the beta unit has about 146 or 45 amino acids are there. And now let us briefly look at the structure of, before we go to structure, let us appreciate this. Very interesting diagram, just focus on this, you will enjoy this. At the top, that curved thing, that basket like thing is the alveolus. Are you done? Okay. Below that, the author Guyton has drawn for us a capillary. What is the length of this capillary? One into another, it should be how much? 1 millimeter. Okay, less than that, but not more, 1 millimeter. And the blood is arriving from here. Okay, the blood is arriving from here, and the blood is deoxygenated. Hello, the blood is deoxygenated, and the deoxygenated blood will have what partial pressure there? We have seen this yesterday. Tell me now. 40 mmHg. How much it is? The blood has been through the different organs. We are talking about the blood has gone to the heart, from the heart it has gone to lungs, it has gone to this alveoli for oxygenation. The blood as it arrives is 40 mm pressure. Good. Now, as it goes from here to here, what author has done is, you are okay. What you do is, you take sample here, and find out the partial pressure of oxygen along the length of the capillary. And you find that as you go, as the blood arrives here, what is the partial pressure? 40. By the time the partial pressure goes, by the time that single RBC comes to about this point, which means about 1/3 the first length of the capillary, what do you find there? It has already reached top, which means what? About 104 mmHg. Are you getting the argument? Has the RBC even much before it reaches the other end, it is already oxygenated. Can somebody try to speculate on what might be the rationale of the nature in designing this way?
During exercise, blood flow increases, so the exchange should happen quicker.
Exchange should happen quicker. Okay, yeah, he has got absolutely correct answer. Let us see, you are suddenly doing exercise, huge amount of exercise. So, as a result of that, your muscles are using huge amount of oxygen. So, in that particular scenario, the blood that is going to the heart and from the head to the lungs, is the partial pressure 40 now? No, it might have gone to 30, it might have gone to 25. Okay. So, if the blood arrives here and if it is not 40 but 25 because of rigorous exercise, even in that case, this curve may just follow the finger, this graph may go that way, there is still margin. So, by the time, so even if you are doing exercise, okay, it may be delayed slightly, but by the time the RBC has gone 50%, 100, definitely it is saturated with oxygen. Okay. So, this is the safety factor which the nature has given. Okay. So, that also determines a lot of things, including the length of the capillary. See, look at the design from every point of view. Okay, the diameter of the diameter of the capillary, the thickness of the capillary wall, the rate at which the blood at which the RBCs are flowing, and by the time that it goes, by the time it comes here, what is the partial pressure of oxygen as it is going? It's written there 104. Okay, this tells us about what happens during exercise. We'll just move on.